Alrighty, welcome back, fellas. So, with every anniversary, there's always one character who is a bit lackluster compared to the others, and this time around, that title absolutely has to go to Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta. In my opinion, the current dark horse of the 10th anniversary. But also, what's interesting is he is one of the most polarizing characters I have ever seen in the Dokkan community, because I've seen so many people say he is heavily underrated, and I've also seen a lot of people on the other side say this guy's a terrible LR with an awful kit, not even worthy of being a 10th anniversary spot. So, honestly, so many different opinions, and it got me to thinking a few days ago, maybe I should talk about if this guy is actually kind of underrated and look into why the community feels the way they do about this character. I even asked you guys on a community post if you guys would like to see that type of vid, and a lot of you showed your support, if you voted on it and everything. So today, we're going to go ahead and talk about Vegeta specifically, focus on what he can provide with this kit. We'll talk about if I personally think he's underrated, and we'll look at the community and see what they feel about Vegeta, why a lot of people don't like Vegeta necessarily, and then at the end, I'll talk to you guys about what I think he maybe needs to be well-liked in the community, what he's maybe missing to make him a lot more better in terms of the game and in terms of the overall perception he has within the Dokkan community. So it's going to be a very fun vid, very interesting. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you do, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, comment down below your thoughts. Let me know, what do you guys personally think about the 10th anniversary Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta? Let's go ahead and get into this. So, first of all, let's remind ourselves of Vegeta's kit just so we are all on the same page. I'm sure a lot of people already know this kit, but basically he is a 220% leader for the Universe Survival Saga category. A very nice leader skill, of course, for the 10th anniversary, but also, he's leading a category that on its own beforehand, it didn't necessarily need him for a good leader skill, right? I mean, you're talking about Carnival LR Jiren, you're talking about Teki Goku. A lot of other characters could have been a very good leader for this category. So Vegeta, as far as the leader skill is concerned, it's nice, it's actually very helpful, but at the same time, it wasn't entirely necessary in that sort of regard. So something to mention there. With his super attack effects, so 3 supers, of course, a unit super right down here. The super attack effects in general, the supers are not that special. They're just like raising attack and defense for one turn, right? Nothing too crazy. But the unit super is where things become really awesome because, for one, the animations are obviously going to be a lot better, but also, I mean, he's able to greatly stack his attacks. So that is really nice, of course, when you want to see that big boy damage output with Vegeta. So that's very easy and important to do, right? Can be activated when key is 18 or more when there's an ally whose name includes Goku. So definitely want to make sure to do this unit super when you can with him. And then besides that, we have his passive skill. So, his passive skill, I would say it's pretty straightforward in terms of how he's meant to work, right? So, he has a very easy to access intro condition, right? One other Universe Survival Saga ally on the team. Then he gets 30% damage reduction, 60% attack boost for 6 turns. He's got nice stat boost. He's an orb changer up to rainbow key spheres. He's boosting his attack right here. For every attack he's performing, he's infinitely raising his key and raising his defense. And also, he's raising his damage reduction up by 7% within the turn. Also, this is an important part about Vegeta's kit. For every 2 key spheres he's obtaining, he's launching an additional as a medium chance or a 30% chance to become a super up to 5 times within the turn. So he can do up to 5 additionals, each of which has a 30% chance to become a super. After he does 6 or more supers in battle, 30% guaranteed damage reduction, and after 7 or more supers, performs a guaranteed crit. So this is basically Vegeta's entire kit. This is all that he has to offer. He's on some really good categories, but, there's no actives, no transformations, no domains, nothing like that, no revivals. So, this is just Vegeta's kit in a nutshell. That's all it is to it. So obviously, a lot of people on their own, just right off the bat, will say this character sucks, especially because his kit feels so lackluster compared to the other 2 Part 1 LRs. And to that point, I will just say, I think you guys are absolutely right. I mean, when we look at his kit and what he has to offer, or rather what he does not have to offer, it is really kind of annoying to see what he's missing compared to the other 2. I mean, when we look at Super Vegeta, right, like Tech Goku plus Vegeta, obviously a lot of people, think this character is the best in the game, and Goku and Vegeta, right, in just that phase alone, right, Goku's able to stack attack, he can work in slot 2, slot 3, Vegeta, he can stack defense, work in slot 1, so there's a lot of versatility there. Super Vegeta is so overpowered, a taunt, counters, boosting attacks, a scouter, a lot of damage reduction, support, the 18 key supers, of course, guarding all attacks. So that is all awesome. Also the HP recovery, which is really nice, of course. So, Super Vegeta, this character has a lot of things to offer, a lot of versatility. Super Saiyan 4 Goku, right, especially when you go into this mode, he's stacking attack and defense, he's providing a lot of support to his allies, HP recovery, built-in crits, being able to infinitely raise his key, and also boost his crit chance right there. So, both characters have so many great things to offer, and also both of them fit onto a lot more categories, or at least a few more categories, I should say, compared to Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta. So, really, Vegeta in that comparison, I think that comparison alone is why a lot of people are not a big fan of Vegeta, because, you look at the other 2 Part 1 LRs, they have so many dynamic things going on about them, and Vegeta feels like he's just brought along for the ride. Like, he's not really, like, on the same level as these other 2 LRs. So I think a lot of people are upset just by that alone. But if you ask me personally, do I think he is underrated? I would say, yeah, I think, you know, the overall Dokkan community kind of underrates this character. Now, some people I think are being a bit too overzealous to say, oh, he's actually so good. You don't know what you guys are talking about. Like, I've seen some people say he is elite and he is just a cut above the rest, that people don't even realize how to use this character. And I think that's a bit, you know, asinine. Like, I think that's a bit ridiculous because, you know, Vegeta, yes, I think he is underrated. I think he actually has a lot of good things to provide, especially in the right slots, like, you know, slot 2 and slot 3. With the right team, I think he can do a lot of great work. But the problem about Vegeta is still that on his own, he is still not providing nearly as much, you could say, as the Super Saiyan 4 Goku or like Super Vegeta. So that cannot change. That cannot be disputed, in my opinion. And also, I mean, again, yes, he can do good in the right positions, but even then, he's still, like, you don't feel necessarily the impact from him like you feel from necessarily maybe of quite a few other characters. Like, for example, a lot of people remember Beast Gohan. He had a lot of impact when he came out. He's still been having a lot of impact for a lot of teams and players, right? So, you know, characters like them, you can feel their impact. You can feel their presence just change the team and how it works. And Vegeta, he has a lot of value. I don't think you can feel his impact, though, in that same sort of sense. Hopefully that makes sense. But, I mean, that's just my kind of thought on Vegeta, even though I still think he's a bit underrated. I've seen some people say he's not a top 10 LR. I think you can make the case that he is top 10, but just barely. And the fact of the matter is, if you have to argue that Vegeta could or could not be a top 10 LR, that kind of speaks badly on Vegeta as the 10th anniversary LR. Like, that speaks pretty badly. So that's kind of my thoughts on Vegeta. Let's go ahead now and focus on what the community has to say. I'm interested to see what the community has to feel like, because I've heard some of the opinions, but I haven't really, like, dived deep into what the people think and, like, why they feel the way they do. So we have a couple of posts here. Of course, you know, shout out to Genshin Forever. Shout out to Vilify, a fantastic content creator, by the way. Check out Vilify's channel if you guys have not. And also, I actually made a post myself asking people to share their thoughts on Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the motion as the other two have. So, you know, I only got one reply, but basically, you know, we'll start off with my post right here. So this guy right here, shout out to Marcos right here. So he was basically saying, you know, in terms of Vegeta, right, like what people don't like about him, for him, he said, you know, no active, no utility, just a boring slot 2, slot 3 unit, and typically a turn for him is like super and then 5 additional normals. So even he said, you know, the in Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta is legit just better because he has a revive. So this is like one of the common opinions I've seen about Vegeta, is that especially because of the lack of things he has in his kit, right, the things he's missing, you feel like there's so many other characters who are better than him just by virtue of having some other gimmick to offer that Vegeta's does not. I mean, you know, characters like taunts, you know, like Beast Gohan, they have a taunt to provide, so, you know, that's some sort of gimmick right there. The in Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta has a revive that this Vegeta does not, so that's like a bit of a gimmick that's nice to have, of course, all these different things. So that's one kind of common consensus I've felt has been like shown throughout a lot of the community. We'll go ahead and look at Genshin's Forever's kind of a post right here. So, you know, I actually even asked him for permission on like using this post, but, you know, like Vector, for example, Vector even said straight up, just boring. And I mean, maybe you guys saw Vector's kind of like ranking, but he ranked a bunch of characters he would put above Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta, and there was quite a few characters, you know, TORs, you know, LRs, EZAs, and all the like. So honestly, it was pretty interesting. Even Genshin Forever says, like, the in Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta is more fun to use, and, you know, with this Vegeta specifically, it's not easy to get that extra 30% damage reduction because the additionals are pretty much just additional normals and not additional supers, so it's all frustrating, of course. Super Saiyan, like Rose right here, you know, he's really good, but could have been better. I think that's probably a good way to describe him. No guaranteed additionals or no high chance hurts him a lot, right? Remember, high chance is a 50% chance to do additional. He has a medium chance to do so, so that's a 30% chance, so honestly, that is really tough. No support as well. Rhodey right here charging at full power, a truly limitless unit. I'm pretty sure this guy's trolling, man. It is tough. I mean, even to like remind him of like the Wii Saints have no limits, that is insane right there. Shout out to Sky right here. He's not good enough at all, not even top 10. So this is where I saw people say, like, okay, not even top 10. I can see there's an argument there, but the fact that we're making the argument does not bode well for Vegeta, regardless of if you have him in the top 10 or whether or not you don't have him in the top 10, right? So that's kind of crazy. Vegito, he's a good unit, but not providing anything of value to his teams other than Rainbow Orbs, but he's too greedy for that. So yeah, I think that's a pretty accurate assessment. I mean, we look at the Universe of Battle Saga category. I think now it's like a perfect segue to that. And you look at this category, there's so many great characters in the category before you even think about the 10th anniversary of Vegeta, right? So you're talking about Carnival LR Jiren, Tech UI Goku, Golden Frieza, and 17 have a lot of good value in certain positions as well. Tech Jiren, especially when he links up with the AGL Jiren, of course. You know, we can keep going down here. So AGL MUI, the in Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta, with both of them with a revival and everything, right? The in Android 17, if you have like a Team Universe 7 comp, Evo Ken can do some nice work here and there. Topo can be pretty good as well, of course, with the right team comps. You know, there's a bunch of characters, honestly, like Margarita, of course. So honestly, when you look at this category, just ignoring the 10th anniversary of Vegeta, this category was already a pretty strong category. I mean, think about what these characters are providing, right? Like, Golden Frieza and 17, they are almost clear-cut like a fantastic, trustworthy Slot 2, Slot 3 unit because of the damage reduction and how they work. Jiren, you could argue he's not necessarily that great on his own, but pairing with the AGL Jiren, now you have a fantastic set of links being activated, now you have a bunch of damage being able to be seen, and now Jiren can do a lot better in Slot 2 or Slot 3. The Carnival Jiren, yes, his base form and his full power form are not that great anymore overall, I would say, but his standby is still one of the best in the game. It's like for, I believe it's like 5 turns, right? Let me go ahead and check Jiren just to be sure here, but his standby should be for 5 turns. Yeah, there you go, 5 turns. In the standby, he is one of the best defensive characters in the game because the standby just allows him to get so much damage reduction. It's insane. TechUI Goku, do we need to even talk about TechUI? He is so awesome. When you get him to MUI, he is a whole different beast, and also, he has the only domain in the game to actually re-enable dodge for your characters when you face certain fights like Go Frieza, where, you know, in certain phases like the Golden Frieza and 17 phase where they nullify dodge. So the domain is awesome, and very important, you know, and TechUI is very good. Both of these characters, right, the 6th anniversary LRs right there, both of them have fantastic revives, so all of it is very good, of course. But yeah, this category was already really strong without Vegeta. Vegeta is just like an icing on the cake, right? You didn't necessarily need him to change this category for the better. So I think that's a pretty accurate assessment, especially when we look at his kit. He's not supporting these other allies with the super attack effects or like giving them orbs that they can utilize or anything like that necessarily. So all of those things kind of exist as issues for Vegeta. So I think that's a pretty accurate assessment there. Ori, though, shout out to Ori right here. I like him, think he's good and underrated, but definitely the weakest of the Part 1 LRs. Again, I think this final part is like the most easy thing for everyone to agree on. Like, no one, I think, will disagree with the sentiment that he is the worst of the 3 Part 1s. It's just a matter of how bad do you think he actually is. And that's where a lot of people are just going all over the place in terms of like, oh, he's not that bad. And other people are like, nah, he's just complete dog water, just doo-doo ass. So, you know, that's how tough it is. Good, but he's boring, should at least have an active. This is something that was very interesting too. A lot of people have been vocally frustrated with the fact that Vegeta just does not have extra animations. I mean, I remember, I wish I had the post pulled up here, but I think ya boy Mike, right, like shout out to him, he's a fantastic YouTuber, but he had a post where he was talking about basically, I think it was like the 6th or the 5th anniversary, almost every LR since that time has gotten an active skill from the anniversary, right, the anniversary LRs, almost all of them have had some active skill up until this point with Vegeta. So, you know, Vegeta not having extra animations, not having like a revival, an active, a domain, a transformation, those things suck because you want to see that in the cool characters for the anniversary, and Vegeta's not providing those things. So, honestly, yeah, it's tough. Good, but he's boring, should at least have an active skill. I definitely agree with that. Forker definitely hates this guy for sure. I can understand the pain, because like Otaku says right there, you know, super normal, that's just how it is. Good unit within the top 10. Flaws can definitely be noticed, but can be fun once he gets moving. I think that's also an important thing to kind of note as like a bit of a caveat. Once he gets moving, I think he's fine. I think you can honestly say like he's a top 10 LR easily once he gets moving. It's just like for the beginning, you kind of question if he can be in that position necessarily, because to begin with, he takes some moments to get ready, and in that early part, you kind of argue that, if anything, the other characters need to prop up Vegeta so that Vegeta can get nice, well, and ready, and then he can take over from there. So I think that's like an interesting kind of thing about the team comp and how he works there. Def right there, he's kind of just there, so all those sorts of stuff, you know, it's just honestly, like, all sorts of things. Zim right here, he's not bad, just genuinely useless. That, damn, I didn't even think it was going to be that harsh. Does nothing special and doesn't reliably do damage. In that sense, he is the worst premium summonable unit since the game started. Damn! Okay, Vegeta fans, like, don't cook this guy. Don't come here and, like, hate on him, but I think he just roasted Vegeta like I've never seen. Like, this is crazy. So, the worst premium summonable unit since the game started, I honestly don't know. I'm going to say no, just off instinct, because I'm sure there's a worse premium summonable unit, but the fact that you can say that and no one's going to bat an eye necessarily to like begin with, like you have to take a sec to think about it, I think that's kind of tough. I think that's really tough for sure. He does do good damage. I'm going to say right there, I'm going to say pump the brakes, because he does do really good damage. It's the additionals. If the additionals were supers, then people would be saying, oh, the damage is good. But he does have the ability to do a lot of good damage. It's just not necessarily consistent in the sense that your additionals will probably be normals as opposed to supers. But I mean, that's all that stuff right there. A lot of people have been saying basically that he is like LR STR Cooler from the 7th year 2022 Worldwide Celebration campaign. I disagree with that. I think, you know, Cooler had different things to offer necessarily compared to Vegeta. But at the same time, I understand the sentiment basically because they both do additionals, they both do a lot of attacks, so I think that's kind of like the idea. Both are STR typing, so that was a bit of a reason there, but Honestly, it's very interesting. Diamond here. So him being a slot 2 unit, leading Universe Survival Saga, the team that has no slot 1 necessarily that isn't dodge or die was stupid, especially because he cannot link with the Int Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta, who may arguably be better than the 10th anniversary one because of the turn 1 guard and the revive. So yeah, pretty much all of the same kind of stuff right here. Good unit, but a complete waste of space on an anniversary lineup. I'm sorry for reading this, Vegeta fans, but I just have to read this because this is what the community feels. This is not what I'm saying, this is what the community is saying. So we need to understand what people feel about this character. He's not doing anything on his team that was actually needed, so I just view him as a giant waste of resources that could have gone to another unit and their animations. That's honestly, like, I can understand, especially because, like, for me, for example, I've been praying for a Namek Saga Premium Dokkan Fest Goku, and it doesn't seem like we're going to be getting that for the 10th anniversary, and to that end, like, I look at Vegeta and I'm like, you know what, if we could have gotten a better character maybe, like, could it not have been Goku, because Vegeta clearly is not that, like, insane, we're like, oh yeah, let's go, we got, like, so I can understand those feelings. I'm not sure if that's where, you know, Free-to-Play, by the way, was, like, kind of going with that sort of thinking, but for me, that's how I kind of view it as well. Very, very cool, but they fumbled him so hard. No active for an anniversary unit is insane, but other than that, very strong and underrated, and also has the best OST of all 3 of the Part 1 characters. So shout out to his OST, of course, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty straightforward there. He was botched, they flopped him hard. A fish in a tiny bucket, damn. Sure, he'll splash, but he can't run or defend for crap. I'm pissed because I pulled him and a dupe instead of Super Saiyan 3 Goku. That is also something that is worth talking about. I've seen quite a few people kind of pissed off that, you know, Vegeta and Goku are on the same banner because they end up pulling Vegeta and not Goku. And I feel for you because Goku is the better of the two, no question. And, you know, Goku, I think, looks better. He looks cooler. He's got a lot of better categories to work with. His support is better. So yeah, I feel that's a fair assessment. People say he's good, but he'll age horribly. No active, no revive, no team protection, no guaranteed additionals even. All of that is going to catch up to him in about a month or two. That is kind of crazy in my opinion. I don't necessarily know if this is going to be the right or wrong assessment, but like, let's just think about the hypothetical. If Vegeta, a 10th anniversary, like 10 years celebrating anniversary LR, is not good by a month or two, like into like March or April, right, going to like the Golden Week celebration, we're going to be having a lot of problems, because I think at that point we could argue that Vegeta is in fact the most disappointing character in the game's history, like one of the most disappointing characters. I think another one in that contender, and I remember Vector made this post, but you know, I think another like contender for like the most disappointing character could be like the 2022 Beastless Gohan, but the fact that Vegeta is like could be in that position, that's going to be tough for sure. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to one of the other kind of community posts, right? Let's go ahead and look at Vilify's post. So Vilify, you know, he was asking the same thing, you know, what do you guys think about Vegeta, but also, you know, how would you fix him and make him better? So, you know, he did this for his video, so I think his video is already out. Check out that video, by the way, because he was with Minato, and that was an awesome video, by the way. But let's just look at some of what the other people kind of said about what to fix in terms of Vegeta, like what he needs to be fixed. So, you know, for Celtic is one of the few people I've seen like publicly on Twitter a lot who's been like defending Vegeta, so shout out to Celtic, of course. But you know, he's saying, you know, he's absolutely fine, not crazy like Vegeta or Goku. Not everyone needs to be the next level, but he is something that the Universe 7 team and the Universe Survival Saga team needed. So you know, I understand where he's coming from. I will say I kind of disagree in a specific sense, and what I mean by this is not everyone has to be the next level in terms of being broken, absolutely, but I think there is a middle ground between where Vegeta is currently and where he ultimately could end up being to be like necessarily next level, like maybe Goku and Vegeta. So I think there's a middle ground there that's not being exploited for Vegeta, and if he was at the middle ground, we would not be having this conversation. But because he's not there, you understand that yes, there is a pretty good gap between him and the other two LRs. You don't necessarily want to say, oh hey, put him on that same level necessarily, but at least can he be close to it? Like that's, I guess, where the sentiment is for me at least. Raudakun, shout out to Raudakun. I love Raudakun, awesome content creator as well. Both of these, by the way, are content creators, so check them out, of course, if you have not. An added sense, apart from him changing random key spheres into rainbow orbs, so have him also be able to change key spheres into STR orbs to help with the additionals. Maybe some damage reduction after getting a certain amount of orbs too. Vector, of course, you know, saying he's really sad next to the other two headliners. Just a generic beat stick, not even particularly consistent or versatile kind of beat stick. Nothing just kind of special about him, so definitely a fumble, so that's definitely tough. Redemption, kind of giving some ideas for like what they could do to fix Vegeta, so maybe have him link with the other Int Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta, because that is a big issue right now. Maybe have his unit super provide support to Universe Survival Saga allies for 2 turns or something like that. Maybe boost the additional chance. This is something that's very consistent for a lot of people, is they want this additional chance to be better, and maybe even give him a taunt active. So Those are all interesting stuff, of course. We keep on going. Rhodey, of course, 2 ways to fix him. Either make him a slot 1 unit, kind of leaning into the Ultra Ego vibe, where he's getting stronger with his attack as he takes attacks, and then also maybe just give him, like, an alternative idea is give him, like, what physical Super Saiyan Dokkan Fest Rose has, so where he's increasing his stats with each attack he's performing. So, I mean, that's kind of an interesting idea. I never really considered that, but I could see the potential because obviously, Vegeta's doing a lot of additionals anyways. That could have made him pretty strong for sure, especially if he happened to get an additional super at some point. So, all that stuff's pretty nice. I don't know if this is a hot take, but his unit super needed to be cooler. I feel like it didn't really live up to the hype that the card art had. That card art, I will definitely say right now, let me just stop right here. This is a badass card art. I mean, this is so awesome. To be fair, I think MUI does a lot to make this art so sick, of course. Vegeta, if we just got rid of Goku, Vegeta would look kind of silly, I think, by himself. But Goku being there as well, that's pretty dope, of course. So yeah, I think the art is so awesome. His unit super, there's like reused animations and stuff, so I understand where this guy's coming from, of course. So shout out to Klee. Also, yeah, he's missing an attack and all these other things. In my opinion, he should have had guard instead of fading damage reduction. Pretty fair stuff, of course. Intro attack boost that should have been for the rest of the battle. And also boosting his attack with his 12 key more, so that would allow him to increase his damage and also function the same overall instead of being a normal merchant, or still being a normal merchant, but now with harder hitting normals. So that's pretty interesting right there. Changed his kit to being a slot 1 unit, so that's actually something that I haven't seen a lot of people mention, but honestly, if he was a slot 1 unit, that would be a massive W for him specifically, especially on this team, because if you think about it, there's only a few units who can be trusted for slot 1 in certain situations, right? Like, turn 1, MUI Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta, the first time they show up, they can be trusted in slot 1, I would say. MUI, of course, guaranteed dodge, Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta, guaranteed guard, and of course, that will help them as they try to work to build themselves up, and for Vegeta to get his revive. Carnival LR Jiren with that standby, he can beat slot 1, of course. Tech UI, especially when you transform him into MUI Goku, I think you can pretty much trust him in slot 1. But yeah, if Vegeta was also a really good, consistent, trustworthy slot 1 himself, like the new 10th anniversary one with the taunt and everything, I think that would be a massive W for him, and also an insane W for this category. So I think that would be pretty good, of course. We keep on going right here, so Bringer down right here. Actually, no Bringer. Bringer's an awesome dude. I would make his additionals a great chance to become a super, so that's a 70% chance, I believe, within 5 per turn, with a 60% chance to dodge, and his damage reduction goes up by 10% up to a maximum of 40% with each super that he's performing. Doing 7 supers gains the additional 30% damage reduction. So a bit of a tweak to his kit to make him more tanky, more trustworthy on defense. So I think that's a pretty good assessment right there. Not necessarily a fumble. I think he's incomplete. Give him a great chance to nullify counter Ki Blast supers and inactive that gives him guaranteed crits. So honestly, all sorts of different things. I'm just kind of like skipping through here, just kind of seeing if there's any different kinds of ideas and unique kind of perspectives on this, because most of the community does not like Vegeta, but it's for the same things, really, like a specific 1, 2, maybe 3 things that Vegeta has that people do not like. And I think it's pretty consistent in that sense. Frying Pan, I prefer running a friend Jiren or Tech UI Goku over a friend Vegeta. That's all I have to say about him. Zero Mortal Plan, nah, I really don't. I just wish I had Tech UI and Jiren. Criticism is fine though, in my perspective. The fact that he is a top 20 and a 1,000 card game is impressive. Dokkan needs to do better though if people are this mad, especially with the terrible summon rates. Yeah, I think he's still a really good LR. The fact he's top 20, still really good. But I think, especially considering he's the 10th anniversary LR, that is like I said it in my last video when I gave my overall thoughts on all 3 of the LRs. Vegeta has the title of being a 10th anniversary LR. It just doesn't feel like he has the qualifications with his kit to be worthy of that position in some situations. So I think those are like the issues. I keep saying the same things over and over. I keep kind of repeating myself here, but I really kind of want to drive this home, like why the community feels the way they do, and just understand like why people kind of look at Vegeta the way they do, because my hope is that Vegeta will find some way to come back. Maybe part 2 will save him, something will happen, because right now his kit is going to stay as it is. It's not going to change, so hopefully something down in the very near future will make him better, but for right now it's kind of tough. This guy Drewski right here, so give him Universe Survival Saga allies boost right here, attack boost and defensive boost, as well as key and dodge chance plus 7%, and then he becomes a top 10 character to make him on par with the AGL Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Add that support, maybe change his damage reduction as well and crit to 6 or 7 more attacks instead of specifically being supers. So yeah, honestly, pretty good stuff here in terms of ideas. Honestly, I mean, yeah, like even like let's look at what Izzy has to say here because he's talking about the bright side. So I try to look on the bright side with this guy, but he's just not that special. He does damage, and that's it. Maybe give him Beast Gohan's active, but also include damage reduction in it, or just give him an exact replica of Cell Max's active, which is, by the way, plus 999% defense. Maybe that would help a lot. So yeah, his kit is great for Yellow Coin 2024 units for sure. Fixing him is pretty easy. Just give him an attack type active skill and give him permanent, that gives him permanent 30% damage reduction and a boost to his stats, and that's pretty much it. 100% yes, an anti-headliner being noticeably worse than the one from the previous anti should not happen ever. Every notable aspect about this guy has been done better by an older unit. Attack stacks with additionals, cooler, 7 additionals in a turn, Glorio. He's the most nothing release ever. So yeah, I think I kind of want to stop there because we really are going into a lot of what the community says, and I think at this point we've gotten a good idea of what everyone is pretty much feeling, which is basically, it comes down to 2 to maybe 3 specific issues with Vegeta, which is why a lot of people do not like him. The first thing is obviously this condition right here. The fact that he has the additionals is fine, boosting his damage reduction is fine, but the fact that it's a 30% chance for it to become a super sucks ass, because you need the supers to help him boost his attack and defense in the turn, make him a lot stronger, but also you need the supers to give him his 30% damage reduction and his guaranteed crit. So who knows how long it can take necessarily at the worst, right? 6 turns of Vegeta being on the field for him to get this condition to be met. So, you know, you maybe have to be a bit lucky with your RNG, but yeah, that's a major issue for Vegeta. People also just do not like the fact that he is not providing any sort of support or protection or anything. So, you know, it seems like there's 2 main kind of tracks of ideas for what to do with Vegeta. One is to make him like Super Saiyan 4 Goku, where basically he's giving stat boost to the other characters. Maybe that will fix him. I think that's a pretty good way to fix him, of course, if he had that. And the other way is to give him an active skill. An active skill not only would make people feel a lot better about him in terms of having more animations, maybe better animations, but also his active could do a lot of stuff. It could give him permanent attack boost, it could give him damage reduction, maybe give him like, you know, a taunt or something, maybe just do like provide support to all the allies. There's all sorts of things they could do with an active skill, and Vegeta doesn't even have it to offer to begin with. Maybe he could do like insane nuking damage with its active skill. So I think those are different, like the consistent same kind of different ideas about what to do to fix Vegeta. If you ask me personally, I think the biggest way to fix Vegeta, like if we could update his kit right now, I would say the biggest thing is give him an active. Don't make it don't give him a taunt. Leave the taunt right now to Super Vegito. I'm sure the Part 2 LR, like the Dokkan Fest LR, who we pretty much all know who's going to be, I'm pretty sure he may have a taunt as well, or he may have some sort of interesting gimmick, but Vegeta does not need the taunt. Leave him without it, that's fine, but maybe give him some ability to have, like, damage reduction in slot 1, like, before he attacks or something, or some sort of way to do that. Improve his orb changing, I like that idea for sure, but I don't think that's going to be worthwhile. I don't think it's necessary. Keep the orb changing as it is. If anything, give him the statistical support. Make it through his unit super. You want to use his unit super anyways. Make it so that his unit super only, not even the 18 key super, but the unit super will allow him to provide support for 2 turns to all other allies on the team, or Universe Survival Saga allies, whatever specific type of thing you want, that's fine. But give him that support. If he can do the support, that'll be great, because then guess what? Maybe you can trust the in Super Saiyan Blue Evolve Vegeta on the first slot. Maybe you can trust MUI and Tech UI and all the stuff in the first slot, not even have to think about it whatsoever. You can trust AGL Jiren. So I think those are the things that need to be done. But at the same time, obviously we all know it's too late. Vegeta's kit is already out. He's been out in the game. Everyone's had a chance to try him. They're not going to update his kit right now. They're not going to update it for at least 2 to 3 years. Probably not even 2, but like 3 years, right? Like the 13th anniversary. So it's going to be a long time before this character gets better in terms of his kit. At this point, the only thing we can do, the only thing we can hope to do, is just see what Part 2 has to offer. Hopefully, there should be one Dragon Ball Super, I think, anniversary unit for Part 2. We'll talk about, I'll maybe make like a separate video for like the Part 2 predictions. But, you know, hopefully Part 2 can make Vegeta better. Because right now, Vegeta has the potential. He has the strength. He just needs to figure out a way to really make it work. And I think another unit would make him so much better. Maybe, I've seen a lot of people say, you know, Part 2 will give us a Carnival Go Frieza. And if that's the case, who knows? Maybe Go Frieza is the one to be in slot 1. And maybe Vegeta is meant to be slot 2. And that will work perfectly. In that situation, I think he'll be fine. But until then, Part 1, Vegeta, he's just going to have to be stuck as he is. And honestly, it's tough to say, but he is definitely the dark horse of the 10th anniversary. And by far, in my opinion, the worst unit in the 10th anniversary so far when it comes to the premier Part 1 LRs. So yeah, I mean, it's a tough way to end the vid, but that is going to be where we have to end the vid, of course. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Again, if you did, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, comment down below. Again, let me know what you guys personally think about Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta. Again, I think he is underrated, not necessarily heavily underrated. I think he's partially underrated, but he still sucks in a lot of situations. There are still a lot of problems about this kit, and a lot of the community definitely does not like him. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.